The red sun of Vega 4 was high in the sky when Lena stepped out of the food kitchen, carrying her lunch delivery box. The air smelled like hot metal and steam. Workers moved around in heavy suits, loading boxes, fixing cables, or guiding cargo. Ships. Lena was used to the noise. She had been delivering lunch boxes on this planet for almost a year now. Her uniform was simple, a light blue jacket, dark pants, and a cap that always slipped over her eyes. She adjusted it again, sighed, and looked at her schedule on the delivery pad. Zone B, loading dock 3, she whispered. Last order for today. Lena walked quickly. She had learned to move fast between robots and workers. Falling behind meant fewer tips, and she needed every single credit she could get. Her little brother was back on Earth, waiting for her. Messages and the school payments she sent each month. As she reached dock 3, she stopped. Something was strange. The place was quiet. Usually, the area was full of noisy machines and shouting workers. But now, only a few crates were stacked near the wall, and no one was around. She looked left, then right. Then she saw him. A man sat on the edge of a low wall, his head down, looking at the ground. He wore simple gray clothes, not the usual worker uniform. He wasn't part of the delivery team. She was sure of it. Lena felt unsure. Was this her customer? She slowly walked closer. "Excuse me, did you order lunch?" The man looked up. His face was clean, not dusty like the others. His eyes were dark but calm. "No," he said softly. "I didn't order anything." Lena was ready to walk away, but something in his voice stopped her. He looked tired. Not the kind of tired from working machines, a different kind. A deep, silent tired. She paused. "You okay?" The man gave a small smile. "Just hungry." Lena blinked. She opened her box and looked at the list. She had one extra lunch, a mistake, or maybe someone had canceled. She thought for a moment, then took the box out and handed it to him. "Here," she said. "I have one left. You can take it." He looked surprised. "Are you sure?" She nodded. "Yeah, I won't carry it back. Too heavy." The man chuckled. Softly, "Thank you." He opened the lunchbox. Inside was steamed rice, 2 boiled eggs, some green noodles, and a small red fruit. Simple but fresh. Lena stood there as he ate quietly. He didn't speak much, but every bite seemed careful, respectful. "You made this?" he asked after a while. "No," she said. "I just deliver, but sometimes I help in the kitchen. I learned to boil eggs properly last week." He nodded. "Tastes good. Reminds me of something, long time ago." Lena didn't ask more. She sat on a crate nearby, drinking water. For a while, they both stayed silent. Then he asked, "Why do you do this?" "Delivery. It's hard work." She looked at him. No one usually asked her that. "I need the credits," she said honestly. "My brother is on Earth. I send money for his school. My mom is sick. This job pays more than Earth jobs." He nodded again slowly. "You're strong." Lena laughed. "A little. I just carry boxes." "Still strong," he said. A voice came from her earpiece, the kitchen staff calling her back. "Shift over." She stood up and picked up the empty delivery box. "I gotta go. Take care." The man stood too. He looked at her with quiet eyes. "Thank you, Lena." She stopped. "How do you know my name?" He smiled. "It's on your jacket." She looked down and laughed. "Oh, right." Then she walked away, still smiling. Later that night, as she sat on her small bed in the workers' block, she thought about the man again. Something about him felt different. He didn't look like a worker. He didn't act like one either. But he had been kind, polite, and when he said thank you, it felt deep, like it meant more than just for food. She didn't know it yet. But that lunch delivery had changed something. Far above the loading docks, in a quiet part of the control tower, the man sat at a desk. The lights were low. A screen showed reports, maps, and numbers. He read quietly, his fingers moving through files. Then he opened a new file and typed one line. Worker 428, Lena. Observed kindness, honesty, and strength. Watch for further interaction. He closed the file and looked out the window toward the loading docks. The red sun of Vega 4 was setting, and the sky turned dark orange. Tomorrow, he would find her again, but not as a stranger. Vega 4 woke up to a strange silence. For the past few days, everyone had worked with extra care. Tools were cleaned, uniforms were pressed, and voices were kept low. Workers checked their reports twice. Some even helped each other more than usual. The silent observation had changed the colony, but no one knew who the inspector was. Whispers continued. Some said he was a robot with human skin. Others said he lived in the upper tower, far above the workers. Everyone had their own story. Lena, however, didn't speak much about it. She knew the truth, or at least part of it. It was Rin. The same man who once sat alone at the edge of the loading dock, wearing simple clothes, asking for a spare lunch. She didn't tell anyone. Not because he asked her to, but because a part of her still didn't fully understand who Rin really was. That morning, Lena arrived at the food court early. She had been asked to deliver a special breakfast order to the main hall, something that never happened before. Company meeting, said the head cook. Big one. Everyone's invited. She placed the lunch containers in the delivery box and made her way through the bright corridors of the upper building. She had never walked this path before. The floor was clean, smooth, and glowing under her feet. Walls were lined with digital art, and everything smelled fresh, not like the dusty kitchens and machine rooms she was used to. At the main hall entrance, guards checked her badge. She was surprised they let her in. Inside, hundreds of workers had gathered. From kitchen staff to engineers, from cleaners to drone operators, all stood together, unsure of what to expect. Whispers filled the air. Lena moved quietly to a side corner and placed the food on a long table. She stayed there, thinking she would slip out soon after. Then, the lights dimmed. A tall woman in a white suit walked onto the stage. She was the company's local director. Everyone recognized her. She spoke clearly. Today, you meet the one who has walked beside you these past weeks. The one who ate with you, worked beside you, and watched without judgment. People looked around, confused. The director continued. He came not to punish, but to understand. And now he will speak. The room fell completely silent. From the side door, Rin walked in, wearing a clean jacket and polished boots. He looked very different, yet the same, calm, still, eyes focused, kind but sharp. Lena's breath caught. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Rin stepped onto the stage and took the mic. I'm not good with big speeches, he said simply. People chuckled quietly. I came to Vega 4 without a name, without a badge, and without credits. Some of you gave me food. Some gave me your stories. Some ignored me. I expected that. He paused. I am Rin. My full name is Rin Allen Vortis, owner of this colony. Gasps filled the room. People looked at each other in disbelief. Some even stepped back. Jaws dropped. I wasn't always the owner, Rin said. I was once like many of you, working on dusty floors, fixing broken parts, eating cold meals. When I inherited this company, I promised myself something. I would never forget the people who built these walls with their hands. He took a breath, but I did forget. The numbers, the meetings, the reports, they made me blind. That's why I came back, not with guards, not with cameras, just as a man. I wanted to see if kindness still lived here, if hard work still had a face. He looked out into the crowd, and I found both. He smiled gently. I saw a woman give her only extra lunch to a stranger. I saw workers helping each other without orders. I saw cooks saving food for those who were late. That is the heart of this colony. People listened closely now, so I'm making changes. Real ones, not words on paper. He raised a hand and the screen behind him lit up. New changes. Worker credit increase 15% more. Pay for every basic level worker. Small business grant. Workers can apply to start their own food stalls, repair shops, or services. Permanent. Badge program. Helpers and part-timers can now earn full work status after 90 days. Free health checks. Every worker gets one checkup each month. Feedback day. Once a week, any worker can speak directly to leadership.rin, looked across the room. This is your home. You deserve to live, not just survive. Then he nodded and stepped back. The room stayed silent for a moment. Then came claps. One person. Then 5, then 50. Then all. The hall filled with cheers. Lena stood in the corner, her eyes wide, her heart full. He had done it. The quiet man with no badge was now the voice of every worker. After the meeting, people talked non-stop. I can't believe it was him. He sat next to me during breakfast. He fixed my drone last week. Lena walked slowly back toward the kitchen, still holding the empty lunchbox. Her hands were shaking just a little. She didn't notice Rin walking behind her. Lena, she turned. You remember my name again? He smiled. Your jacket told me. They both laughed. You knew this whole time, she said. You knew. You were the owner. I did. Then why not just say it? Because power changes how people treat you. I wanted to be seen for who I am, and I wanted to see who you really are. Lena looked at him. And what did you see? A fighter. A dreamer. Someone who believes in others even when she has little. She looked away. Shy. He reached into his jacket and handed her a folded paper. What's this? Your small business application. Already approved. Her hands froze. You mean? You have space near the west gate. It's clean. It's yours. Run your food stall. Teach others. Make it grow. Lena looked at him with tears in her eyes. Why are you doing this? Because, Rin said. You believed in me before you knew who I was. Now I believe in you. They stood there for a moment, quiet. Then Lena smiled. You're still not getting free lunch, though. Rin laughed. I'll bring credits next time. The next morning on Vega 4 started like any other. Loud engines, glowing wires, and long lines of workers filled the colony. Lena, as always, stepped out of the kitchen with her lunchbox strapped to her back and her delivery list in her hand. She was tired, but she smiled anyway. A worker passing by nodded at her. She nodded back. That was how life was on Vega 4, everyone busy, everyone tired, but somehow still holding on. As she checked her list, something in the back of her mind kept repeating, "Thank you, Lena." She remembered the man from yesterday, the stranger, with quiet eyes and kind words. She had given him her extra lunch. He didn't seem like a regular worker. No ID, no heavy boots, no tools. Still, he had smiled at her like she mattered. That didn't happen often here. She shook her head and focused on her job. No time to think. She had 12 orders to deliver before the midday bell. At Dock 2, while handing a lunchbox to a mechanic named Joro, she noticed something. The same man, the stranger, was standing near a machine, watching quietly. He wasn't doing anything, just standing and observing. Joro noticed her looking. New guy, he said, pointing his chin at the man. Been hanging around for 3 days now. No one knows his name, doesn't talk much. He's not in uniform, Lena said. Joro shrugged. Maybe inspection team, maybe a spy, who knows? Not our problem. Lena nodded, took her empty box, and walked to her next stop. But her eyes kept going back to the stranger. He didn't seem dangerous. He didn't write anything. Just looked. Watched the workers fix machines, carry boxes, and eat their meals. Sometimes he even helped, like passing tools or lifting crates. Quietly. Without asking for credit, by midday, Lena was at the food court, taking the short break. She sat under the metal shade near the supply area, drinking water. Sweat rolled down her neck and her legs ached. But she was used to it now. Then she saw him again, the stranger. He was walking slowly near the food stalls, looking at each one like he had never seen food being sold before. He stopped at a stall selling hot soups and watched the cook stir the pot. Lena stood up and walked toward him. She didn't know why. Looking for food again? She asked, smiling. He turned, surprised. Then his face relaxed. Lena, you remember my name? He gave a small smile. Your jacket told me again. She laughed. You again? Still not wearing a badge? I'm just observing, he said carefully. Observing what? He looked around. Everything. The way people work, eat, talk. It helps me understand. Understand what? He didn't answer that. Instead, he asked, You eat yet? Lena raised her eyebrows. Not yet. You buying? I don't carry credits, he said simply. Of course not, she said, teasing him. Mysterious guy with no name, no badge, and no credits. He didn't laugh, but his eyes softened. She liked that. Come on, she said. I'll share my lunch again, but only half. They sat on the side steps near the storage shed. Lena opened her lunch and handed him half. Boiled vegetables, flatbread, and a small cup of soup. Simple, but warm. He ate quietly. Like before, each bite was slow, thoughtful. You always eat like that? She asked. I don't waste food, he said. Too many people forget how lucky they are to have a warm meal. Lena looked at him. You talk like someone who's seen hard times. He didn't answer. Instead, he asked, Why do you stay here? Vega 4 is tough. I told you, my brother, my family needs me. It's not easy, but I have a goal. Someday I want to open my own food stall, my own place, maybe even cook, not just deliver. He nodded. You'd be good at it. You don't even know how I cook. I know how you think. That's enough. Lena looked away, not sure what to say. No one had ever spoken to her like that. Not here. She finally asked, What's your name? He paused. Rin. Rin, she repeated. Strange name. He smiled. It's an old name. Doesn't mean much anymore. Well, Rin, if you're going to keep showing up around here, you better start buying your own lunch. He nodded. I'll try. That evening, as Lena walked back to her quarters, she felt lighter somehow. It wasn't the food or the breeze. It was something else. He was quiet, kind, mysterious, but not scary. Not fake. And he listened, really listened, when she talked. She didn't know who he was. She didn't know where he came from. But something in her said he wasn't just a random stranger. He was watching, learning, choosing his words carefully. But why? Far above, in a private control room, Rin sat alone. The room was clean and silent, full of glowing screens. He touched one of them and spoke quietly. Log today's entry. A soft voice replied, Recording. Observed Lena again. She shared food, asked questions, smiled without reason. Treats people with care, not fear. She thinks I'm nobody. That's good. I see truth better this way. He paused. She dreams of owning a food stall. I will watch. If she keeps walking with heart, she may change more than just her life. The screen dimmed. Rin stood and looked out the window, down at the glowing city lights of Vega 4. The colony was big, loud, busy. But sometimes, change started with one small act of kindness, and one quiet observer. Lena's small food stall was now one of the busiest places near the west gate of Vega 4. Her rice bowls, soups, and sweet teas were known across the colony. People from every work zone came to eat, talk, and laugh at Lena's corner. But success brings more than smiles. It also brings challenges. One morning, Lena opened her stall and found the power unit not working. The stove wouldn't heat, and the cooler was completely off. She checked the cables, reset the system, and even asked a nearby worker to help. Nothing worked. No power means no food, she whispered to herself. Worried, she stood outside, trying to think when two other vendors passed by. They looked at her, then smiled strangely. Having a little trouble, Lena? One asked. Lena nodded. Power's out. Strange, the other said. Ours is working just fine. They walked away, whispering and laughing. Lena felt a strange twist in her chest. Was this more than just a problem? Was someone trying to stop her? Later that day, she visited the power team. A kind old technician named Garrow checked the records. Looks like your stall was removed from the grid early this morning, he said. Removed? By who? He shook his head. No name. Just a system request. Can you fix it? I'll try, but it may take a few days, Lena sighed. She walked back. Slowly, her stall quiet and empty. That evening, she found Rin near the east lift. He noticed her worried face at once. What happened? She told him everything. He didn't get angry. He listened, nodded, and said, Leave it to me. The next morning, the power was back. Not only that, a new energy panel had been installed beside her stall, giving her more cooking strength than before. Rin visited her just as she was preparing stew. Sometimes, people get jealous when they see someone rise too fast, he said. They forget how hard you've worked. I didn't come here to compete, Lena said. I just wanted to make food and support my family. I know, Rin replied. That's why you'll survive this. But the trouble didn't end. Within days, a group of new vendors started complaining to the colony office. She's getting special treatment. She gets visits from the owner himself. Why does her stall always stay busy? Lena was called into a short meeting. The board members looked at her with cold expressions. One of them, a woman named Shav, spoke sharply. You've become popular, Lena, but this is not a show. All vendors must follow rules. I do follow them, Lena said. Then why are others upset? Lena didn't answer. She didn't want to speak badly about others. Shav leaned back. Be careful. Sometimes being too successful too fast makes others feel small. That night, Lena sat alone in her stall. The food was finished. The dishes were clean. But her heart felt heavy. She didn't ask for fame. She didn't want enemies. All she wanted was to cook and build a better future. She closed her eyes. Then someone knocked gently on the table. It was an older man in a mining suit. His face was rough, but his smile was kind. You're still open? He asked. Just tea left. She replied, I'll take it. As he drank, he said, I heard you're in trouble. She looked up. Don't worry, he said. We support you. You gave us good food when no one else cared. You brought light to this place. Don't stop. Lena smiled, touched. The next day, workers started showing their support in quiet ways. One brought her free vegetables. Another fixed her stall door without asking. Child placed a flower near her SIGNBOARD. By evening, her stall was full again. Not just with customers, but with friends. Rin visited late that night. He sat quietly sipping tea. You didn't give up, he said. I wanted to, Lena admitted. But I couldn't, not after seeing how many people believed in me. You've become a leader, Rin said. I'm just a cook, she smiled. No. He replied, you're more. A real leader doesn't sit in a high office. A real leader serves first. He placed a small box on the table. What's this? She asked. A permit. For the first stall in the new food hub. You'll have your pick of location. Bigger space, more equipment. You've earned it. Lena opened the box, hands trembling. It was real. But before she could thank him, Rin looked serious. There's one condition, he said. She nodded. What is it? You must train 2 new vendors, help them start. Share your knowledge, Lena smiled brightly. Gladly. In the following weeks, Lena's corner expanded. With Rin's help and her own hard work, she opened a bigger stall. In the new food court, complete with a seating area and a tiny kitchen team, she trained 2 young cooks, a quiet boy named Arlo who baked bread, and a talkative girl named Mina who loved spicy food. Together, they turned the food court into the heart of Vega-4. Music played. Workers laughed. Even guests from other colonies came to visit Dot and Lena. She stood in her stall, wearing her golden cooking pot badge, serving rice with a smile. She had faced trouble, but she had also found her triumph. The next few days on Vega-4 were different. The workers felt it. The supervisors felt it. Even the cooks in the kitchen felt it. Something was coming, and it wasn't just another shipment or weather storm. People were whispering. Conversations in the hallways became shorter. Eyes looked around before anyone spoke. Lena noticed it too. She was on her 4th delivery of the day when she heard 2 guards talking near the loading zone. "They say the inspector is already here," one guard said. "No way. He would have announced it," the other replied. "This one works in silence. No uniform, no guards, watching everything." Lena kept walking, pretending not to listen. But her heart skipped a beat. Was it Rin? At lunchtime, Lena sat near her usual spot under the metal shade. She didn't see Rin today. That made her feel strange. She had started expecting him now. Like a quiet routine. Like the sound of the engines in the distance. She opened her lunchbox but didn't feel hungry. That's when Joro sat beside her. Looking serious. "You heard?" he asked. "Heard what?" "Big inspection, real big, from the top. Company sent. Someone down to see how we're living, working, everything. They say the whole colony might get reorganized." Lena raised her eyebrows. "Reorganized? What does that mean?" "It means job cuts, new rules, maybe even shutdown of sections. They'll look at who's useful and who's not." Lena looked down at her lunch. Suddenly, it didn't taste right. She wasn't an official worker. She had no full contract. Just a kitchen badge and a delivery pass. If they started removing people, she'd be among the first to go. "But that's not fair," she said. Joro shrugged. "Since when has life on Vega-4 been fair?" That evening, the kitchen was quiet. Fewer orders came in. Workers were nervous. Some were already packing their lockers. Lena washed pots with cold hands, her mind full of questions. Was Rin really the inspector? He had no ID, no uniform, no credits. He didn't ask questions like other officials. He didn't act strict or proud, but he watched, he listened. And he knew things. She remembered how he said, "I'm just observing." The next morning, Lena delivered food to the control center. It was a place she rarely went. Clean walls, shiny floors, quiet halls. She felt out of place in her stained jacket and dusty shoes. She handed the lunchbox to the front desk staff. As she turned to leave, she saw a familiar figure standing. At the far end of the hallway. Rin. He was looking at a digital map on the wall. Arms crossed, focused. Their eyes met. Lena didn't smile. Rin walked toward her. Calm as always. "You found me," he said. "You didn't show up yesterday," she replied. "I had work." Lena looked around. "Are you the inspector?" He didn't answer right away. He looked serious now. "I'm more than that," he said. "What does that mean?" "I came to see the truth. The real Vega-4, not the reports, not the numbers. I needed to feel it for myself." Lena folded her arms. "And what did you feel?" "That there's strength here. And kindness. But also pain. People working hard without support." "Are you going to shut down places, fire workers?" "No," he said calmly. "Not yet. I want to give people a chance to show what they can do, if someone believes in them." Lena looked away. Easy to say, harder to live with. "I know," he said softly. "That's why I'm still here, Back in her small room that night, Lena couldn't sleep. Her head was full of thoughts. About Rin, about the colony, about her future. If the company made cuts, she might be forced to leave Vega 4. That would end her job, her dream, and her brother's school fees. But if Rin really had power, if he really wanted to help, maybe things could change. The question was, would he really do it? The next day, the news became official. A message was sent to every corner of the colony. All work areas will be under silent observation for the next 10 cycles. Performance, behavior, and community value will be noted. This is not a test. This is a chance to grow. Show us who you are. People were nervous but also curious. Some tried harder. Some gave up. Some just waited. Lena? She worked like always. Quick, honest, polite. She still smiled at the kitchen staff. Still helped when someone dropped a box. Still gave half her lunch to anyone who forgot theirs. And Rin? He watched from a distance. No longer just a stranger. One evening, while Lena was closing up the delivery shed, she heard footsteps. She turned and saw Rin. He held something in his hand, a small food box. For you, he said. She took it, surprised. You bought this? He nodded. My first, Lena laughed. You finally carry credits? No, he said. I traded work for it. Helped fix a water pipe in the lower wing. She opened the box. It had noodles, green vegetables, and a sweet dumpling. I like it, she said. Good choice. They sat on the crate together as workers passed by, heading to their homes. I'm not just here to observe, Lena, Rin said quietly. I'm here to build something better. But I need people like you to show me how. Me? She asked, surprised. Double quotes, yes. You work hard, stay kind, and believe in dreams. That's rare, she smiled, but softly. Dreams don't fill stomachs. But they feed hope, he said. They sat in silence again, eating slowly, and somewhere in the sky above them, Vega 4's red sun began to set. A new day was coming. The morning after the big meeting felt different. The workers on Vega 4 were still tired, but their steps felt lighter. There were smiles, quiet laughs, and hopeful voices. For the first time in years, people were dreaming again. Lena stood outside her small new food stall, holding the key that Rin had given her. It wasn't much. A tiny space near the west gate with a metal counter, a storage cabinet, and an old cooking unit. But to her, it was more than enough. It was a gift. It was the start of her dream. She opened the door slowly, looking at the empty shelves and silent stove. Her hands touched the walls, rough but strong. This is mine, she whispered. Finally, mine. The first day was full of work. Lena cleaned every corner. She washed the counters, checked the wiring, and arranged the few pots and tools she had brought from the kitchen. She didn't have much money to buy supplies, so she made a short list. Rice, lentils, spices, cooking oil, tea leaves. She smiled at the list. Simple food, comfort food. The kind that reminded people of home. That afternoon, she visited the workers' market to buy ingredients. Many vendors smiled at her. We saw you at the meeting, one woman said. You're the lunch girl, right? She's the one who fed the owner before anyone knew. Another added. Lena laughed, just doing my part. By evening, she had everything ready for her soft opening the next day. She cleaned her hands, stood at the front, and hung a small board that read, Lena's Corner, fresh food, honest. Taste. The next morning, the air smelled different near the west gate. Lena had woken early, prepared rice and stew, and boiled a large pot of tea. As workers passed by, the warm smell pulled them closer. One by one, they stopped. Is this new? What's cooking? That smells like earth food. Lena greeted each one with a bright smile. Hot rice and lentils today. With spiced tea. First cup is free. People laughed and sat down on nearby crates. Some gave her tips. Others just smiled and promised to return tomorrow. By midday, Her pot was empty. She sat down, tired but happy. Her first day had gone well. She didn't notice Rin watching from across the road. Later in the evening, Rin walked over, hands in his coat pocket. "No free lunch today?" he asked with a grin. Lena looked up, surprised. "You're late." "Everything's finished." He looked around. "Looks like business is good." She nodded. "Better than I expected." Rin sat beside her on the step. "You built this fast." "I didn't build it alone. You gave me the chance." "No," Rin said softly. "You gave yourself the chance. I just unlocked the door." They sat quietly for a few moments. The sky above Vigafor turned purple as the twin moons began to rise. Then Rin pulled out a folder and handed it to her. "What's this now?" she asked. "A business plan," he said. "For something bigger." She opened it and read the title. Vigafor. Food Hub, Local Vendor Expansion Program. She blinked. "Food Hub?" Rin explained. "I want to open a bigger food court, not just one stall. I want 10, maybe 20 small food spots. Different styles, different people. Local food made by local workers. Run by people like you." Lena's eyes widened. "You want me to be part of it?" "I want you to lead it." "Me?" "You understand the people here. You know what they like, how they feel. You've lived their life. They trust you." Lena was silent. Her mind ran in circles. She was just getting used to one stall. And now, a food hub? "It's too big," she whispered. "Big dreams take small steps," Rin said. "You've already taken the first." She looked at the folder again. Inside were maps, costs, building ideas, and her name, written in bold letters next to Project Advisor. She touched her name gently. "I'll try," she said. "I don't know everything, but I'll try." "That's all I need," Rin replied. "Honest effort." The next few weeks were busy. Lena ran her food stall in the mornings and worked on the food hub plan in the evenings. She met with builders, designers, and other workers who wanted to join. Some wanted to sell baked bread. Others wanted to make space food with a local twist. Rin checked in often, but never gave orders. He listened, asked questions, and encouraged people to speak freely. Lena noticed something. People didn't fear him. They respected him. That was rare. One evening, as she was closing her stall, Rin stopped by again. "You look tired," he said. "I am," she admitted, "but in a good way." He handed her a small gift box. "What's this?" "Open it." Inside was a tiny golden pin in the shape of a cooking pot. "Official badge of Vigafor's first local food leader," he said. Lena laughed. "It's heavy for a pin, because it means something." She placed it gently on her jacket. "Thank you, Rin, for everything." He shook his head. "Thank you, Lena. You reminded me why I started all this. You made me believe again." As night fell over Vigafor, lights from the workers' area glowed softly. Lena sat outside her stall, watching families eat together. Friends shared laughs, tired hands held warm cups of tea, and music played quietly from a nearby speaker. It wasn't perfect, but it was peaceful. And it was just the beginning. The stars above Vigafor were brighter than usual. The colony's central square was glowing with soft lights and gentle music. It was the third celebration of Unity Day, a new event started by the workers to honor kindness, teamwork, and growth. At the center of the food court stood Lena's corner, now expanded into a warm space filled with laughter, food smells, and soft music. Wooden benches, solar lanterns, and pots filled with fresh plants surrounded the area. Lena stood behind her counter, serving soup with Arlo and Mina. Her hands moved quickly, but her heart was calm. She could still remember her first delivery. On this planet, a single lunchbox, a quiet man, and a strange silence at Dock 3. So much had changed since then. She now served meals to over 100 people every day. But she still tasted every dish before serving it. She still folded napkins, by hand. She still believed food was not just for the stomach, but for the heart. After the crowd had calmed and the main dinner rush was over, Rin walked in quietly, as he always did. He wore his usual simple jacket, but everyone knew who he was now, the hidden owner of the Vega 4 colony. But to Lena, he was still the man who sat silently at her stall and ate every grain of rice without rushing. She handed him a plate without asking what he wanted. He smiled. "You always know what I like," he said. "Steamed rice, soft egg, pepper soup, and red melon tea," she replied. "Easy." He chuckled. "So predictable." "No," she said. "So honest." They sat together at a side table under a small light. For a while, they ate in silence, just like the old days. Then Rin looked up at the sky. 3 years ago, this place was just metal and dust. "And now it smells like cinnamon," Lena smiled. He laughed softly. "You changed more than just a food court, Lena." She looked at him. "I just cooked." "No," he said. "You brought people together. You reminded them what it means to feel welcome." Lena looked around. Arlo was teaching a child how to roll dough. Mina was laughing while serving tea to some transport pilots. A group of engineers sat together, sharing stories and rice bowls. "Yes," she whispered. "But I didn't do it alone." Rin looked at her. "Still, it started with a lunchbox and a kind girl who gave food to a stranger." The stars above twinkled brighter, as if listening. Lena turned toward him. "Why did you hide your identity?" "For so long?" He thought for a moment before answering. "Because power changes how people see you. I wanted to know who was real, who cared, who helped without wanting something back." "And what did you find?" she asked. He looked at her. "I found you." Lena's cheeks warmed, but she didn't look away. "I wasn't looking for power or reward," she said. "Just survival." "And yet," he said gently, "you gave freely, even when you had little." Lena looked down. "I never thought my small acts mattered that much." "They did," Rin said. "And they still do." The music slowed, and workers began lighting small candles across the square, part of the Unity Day tradition. Rin stood. "Come." "Where?" Lena asked. "Walk with me." They left the food stall and walked through the glowing path, passing happy faces, quiet music, and the smell of warm bread and spiced tea. The colony felt like a home now, not just a work site. They reached the edge of the colony, where a small hill rose above the buildings. From there, they could see the whole area, the shining towers, the food court, the green garden dome, and the far cargo docks. "I come here when I need peace," Rin said. "It's beautiful," Lena replied. He turned to her. "I wanted to give you something." He handed her a small black card. She looked at it. It had her name, a colony seal, and one title, Community Advisor. "What is this?" she asked. "You'll help guide future decisions," Rin explained. "New kitchens, worker support, community projects. You've earned this." "I'm not a leader," she said, nervous. "You've been leading from the beginning," he replied. "Not with orders, with example." She held the card tightly. "I'll do my best." "I know you will," he smiled. A soft wind passed, and the stars above sparkled like diamonds. "Do you ever miss Earth?" Lena asked suddenly. Rin thought about it. "Sometimes. But home isn't always where you were born. Sometimes it's where you build something that lasts." Lena looked at the glowing colony. "Then maybe this is home now." They stood together under the sky, silent, comfortable. After a while, Rin turned to her. "What's your next dream?" "Lena?" She smiled. "Maybe a small school near the food court, where children can learn cooking, planting, and kindness." Rin nodded. "Then we'll make it happen." As the celebration ended and people slowly returned to their rooms, Lena walked back to her stall. She stood alone for a moment, looking at the clean pots and folded chairs. She placed the advisor card on the table, then lit one last candle and placed it beside a small picture of her mother and brother. "For you," she whispered. And so, under the red sun of Vega 4 and the shining stars above, a girl who once delivered lunch became the heart of a colony, not through loud speeches or force, but through food, kindness, and quiet courage. Her journey had started with a mistake, one extra lunchbox, but it ended with a promise to keep giving, to keep growing, and to never stop believing that small acts can change the world.